Okay, hi Jamie, hi Richard. I am just going to do a quick run through of skills that you guys might want to start working on with her, with Edie, who's running around here. I may or may not have her attention most of the time. The first one is her name. Once you guys figure out what you want to name her, I'd recommend doing this game where you just say, Edie, yes. Although I'm going to reward her on the floor because she's not supposed to be jumping. Edie, yes. So it is literally as simple as that. You can toss a treat away if she will follow it. Edie, yes. And then get her attention with her word and mark and reward. You're looking for focus on you. So similarly, building off of that, you can ask her to look or watch me. I use look because it's fast. Good girl. So to start, you're going to put a treat in your hand, put it on her nose with your pointer finger, and raise it up to your eyes. Yes. And when you see her make eye contact with you, you will use your marker word, which I did not cover yet. So marker word, I use the yes like that. You can also use a clicker if you want to have that in your hands. A lot of people don't like having to do leash treats and clickers, so I use both, but with the pups I've only done the marker word. So again, I'm just going to do finger or treat to her nose, yes, and look for short eye contact. You can start lengthening that once you have the behavior reliably. Also on that note, when you use food lures or whenever you're starting a new behavior, you don't want to add a verbal cue until they're starting to reliably do that behavior or consistently, like 9 out of 10 or something. But I would add it before I do the visual. So I'd go look, and she's got distracted. Look, yes, and then I would mark and reward. There's more on adding cues in your little document thing that I went crazy with. Other ways you can practice look, which is important for getting her attention. You can toss a treat out, and it's easier to use like a contrasting color treat. So sorry, look out and then say Edie or look, yes. You can use this game for either of those words. Yes. You also don't have to say the word every time. What you're wanting to mark and reward, yes, is her reorienting her attention towards you. Yes, to build that pattern of her looking away but then looking back to you. And finally, another attention game you can do is putting treats in both your hands, putting them both towards her nose, and taking your hands out. She doesn't get to eat either, and I'm also not asking her for anything. I'm looking for eye contact. Yes, eye contact, and I will give her a treat from one hand. That is her voluntarily offering her attention to me. A really useful, easy tool, not tool, but cue is touch. We just started this. When you are training, you can do it kind of mid-session because your hands are really smelly and it will come easy for her right away. So I'm going to hold my hand in front of her nose and then mark and reward when she touches it after she's done with her itch. Yes! If she doesn't offer a touch right away, which she did there, you can start marking her for just looking at it and then eventually get her to touch it. That's kind of that shaping that I talked about in your pamphlet. Hand target, which is what that is useful for getting her to move around, or if she's in kind of a stressful situation. It's a really easy one that she can be successful with. It doesn't take a lot of brain power, but she's still like being successful and having fun in a new place. So it's just kind of a useful tool. Let's see. Name, look, touch. Sit, she does verbally right now. Sit. Yes. If you are struggling at all with that, You don't have to go back to a food lure right away. Try it with just your pointer finger pointed up and then raise up. That's sit. Yes. That's kind of part of that visual lure that she was learning without the treatment. Worst comes to worst, use your food lure, which is like a little doggy magnet. Edie, good girl. With sit, it's simple. You put the treat on their nose and raise it up. Yes, towards that spot between their eyes. I'll show you with down. You're going to go to the spot on the floor between their legs and wait for her to kind of crawl her legs down. Yes. If she's having trouble going straight down, you can take your treat and twist it over to the side a little bit, and it will make their bodies kind of curve over and collapse them. Food lures are really simple to use. You want to kind of fade out the food part as soon as you can, but no sooner than she is consistently performing the behavior. So that's a down. She is learning that pretty well this week. Edie, good girl. Lay down. So clearly she's not ready for that. I don't know why I asked her like that. And we haven't done it from a stand. Yes. We also haven't started adding the verbal every time. You can also use a food lure to lift her back up. Good. And you can tell her sit up or something once she starts getting that. So she has been laying on this blanket, which I don't know if you noticed, but I was rewarding earlier. There's a treat right here. This is a good way to start just settling on some sort of blanket or mat, so you can use it when you're out and about or just in different rooms and throw whatever she's used to laying down on. Basically, with mat work, the only thing she's getting rewarded for, once she starts laying down, you can shape it from like going to the mat, then standing on the mat, etc. But your behavior on the mat and behavior should be laying down, so that if you need her to settle somewhere, throw the mat down, she lays down. If this were her dog bed that you were trying to teach her to go to, you can do it either way. You can have her look at it, yes, and shape it like I just described with the mat work, or you can start her from somewhere off the mat, toss a few treats while saying go to bed, or say go to bed, then toss the treats. Go to bed. Yes. And then mark and reward while she's there and give her more treats. Once she is doing that consistently, you can start doing fake out throws, empty-handed, which we have not gotten this far, but oh, you're being so good. She is just like really addicted to this blanket the last couple days. Maybe I'll send it home with you guys so it has something smelling, or so something smells like home. But anyways, you say go to bed, fake throw. She probably direct her attention over it, then you can mark and reward while on the bed. Recall. So this is kind of a biggie. The rules, basically, every time she comes to you, reward her in some way. It can be just petting, play. If you have food on you, give her food. Randomly make it like really awesome rewards. Big deal. It is a big deal for setters to come to you. Like, they are bred to search out, and while they are supposed to be cooperative, her lines especially are meant to be ranging quite a ways away. I mean, a mile is not unreasonable to expect her to be. So recall is very important also because of her prey drive that she likely has with birds. Hopefully not with Eleanor, but still something very important that you should be able to get her back. So the very basics is doing a collar grab. You're going to touch her collar, feed, and then let her collar go. You can tell she is a little uncomfortable with that because she kind of turned her head a little bit and got still. Yes, you can add your marker word or you don't have to. Either way, whatever you remember. Yes. So, kind of next step, once you get the collar grabs good, you're going to prompt her to come over, grab, and scratch her collar while you're rewarding her. I was talking, didn't throw in my marker word, so yes. Good girl. She is flinching a little. It's something you'll want to work on with that collar gab. Yes. Good girl. You can start adding distance. Other games you can play to work with recall are having one of you hold her in a part of the house and the other goes to hide somewhere easy first, of course, and call her and then make a big deal when she gets there. You can both sit in different parts of the room or yard and just call her back and forth, reward every time. Rules. Always reward the first year she's with you guys especially. It's important to reward every time whether or not you've called her. Second, don't call her unless you think or know she will be successful at coming back to you. So you don't want her to start learning to ignore the cue or think it doesn't mean anything. And third, don't do anything that she will perceive as negative when you call her. If you think, like she needs a bath and she doesn't like baths. She actually doesn't. She doesn't enjoy baths, but she doesn't mind them terribly. But still, if you know you're going to have to do something that she doesn't particularly love, just go get her. Don't use that cue because you don't want to poison it to make it mean something negative. Right now, I am just rewarding her for laying down. This is that capturing I talked about. See her doing something that you like, reward her. She will repeat it. And she's actually started repeating this a ton over the last few days. So, we have sit down, look, name. Yeah, we should show you leave it. For leave it, put a few small treats in your hand. Miss Edie Pants. She's checking out sister over there. We'll get her back over here. Put a few small treats and close your hand. When she leaves your hand alone, yes, mark and reward with the other hand. Don't let her eat out of it. Yes. Once she starts doing that repeatedly, you can say leave it as you close your hand. Leave it. Yes. Next steps would be putting it low, leave it, lower to the floor, yes. And finally, we'll see if I can get her in the camera. You can start setting it on the floor. I'm moving fast here, so yes. And as soon as she leaves it, you can take a treat from your pile, leave it, yes, and toss it over to her. Leave it is just another cue. It's not something you need to say sternly, sharply, startling. It's just communication. If she is going after something, it gives you a word that you can tell her to do rather than telling her what not, rather than just giving her a this gives her clear communication. Dogs respond really well if you tell them what you want them to do rather than say don't do that, because then it's not always clear what they should be doing instead. We use off if she is jumping on something. Jumping on people, they should either stand still, totally ignore, don't look at, don't push, because that's playful and also it's attention. Stand still, arms crossed, look away, or just turn around or leave the room. If she's on you, like she really likes to be on people. Again, ignore, turn away, get up, or when she has like a down, you can start asking her for a down next to you and reward heavily for being next to you but not on you. Kennel training. Millie is in the kennel right now. I guess I will do something with that in a minute. Let's see, loose leash walking. It's really important when you're walking to praise or reward her every time she looks in at you, or loosens the leash. You can play games around the house. This is also useful for recall, I forgot to mention it. Just going around the house and rewarding her, marking and reward. Yes, every time she approaches you. You can do it around the yard. It's just a little follow me game. This is also helpful for walking nicely on a leash. You're going to reward her by your side, of course. With, you can do no leash, then you can add a leash, but keep it totally loose so she, knows it's there, but is not practicing tension on it. You can mark and reward or just reward with every step. She got my slipper. You can't have that. Yes. Right there, I took something away, gave her a treat in trade. Damage control, loose leash walking would be doing like be a treat or penalty yards. So let me clip a leash on her. But I don't think she's not going anywhere, so she's not gonna pull. So if she was pulling right here, you can stop and wait for her to loosen tension on the leash or look back at you, mark, and your reward can be going forward again. If she'll take a treat, even better, but some dogs just want to go forward at this point. If standing still doesn't help you guys at all, you can take steps back, yes, until she loosens tension on the leash. Get some more treats. You can loosen that tension, getting her to go back. Also, if she is stuck somewhere sniffing, you can use a cue like, let's go, toss a treat forward, or run yourself forward. Not so that you're jerking her forward, but just so that you're making yourself exciting and getting her attention back up there. You've probably heard me doing kissy sounds. I'm trying to start her with a positive interrupter so that you can minimize your use of the ah-ahs. So to do that, I'm doing kissy, yes, so, yes. You can toss a treat out if you need to get her attention away from you. Yes, good girl. You can use this positive interrupter to interrupt her when she's doing something she shouldn't, and occasionally reward her for looking back at you once she knows it. Initially, you're going to want to reward pretty consistently. You are not rewarding the inappropriate behavior. You don't have to worry about that because you are rewarding, marking and rewarding that attention towards you. If she starts to get in a cycle of doing the unacceptable thing in order to get that positive interrupter and that reward, you can start putting spatial and time distance between what she was doing and the kissy sound and the reward. Start lengthening that out. So body handling, similar to what I was doing with that collar grab. Get a handful of small treats or a squeeze tube of something. You can't steal out of the pouch. And the pattern is touch, feed, remove touch, immediately remove food. That way the touch predicts the food and the touch will become a positive thing. On that note, I mentioned holding her in my lap for nail trims. I just sit on the floor, hold her like this, get her gently turned over, and pet her belly. You can have someone pet her or feed her if you need to, but she does let me do this on her own, and I just do one paw at a time with some scratches or treats in between. She's pretty easy. We got kind of the basics. The last thing I will show you is the kennel. So I've got to get Miss Edie out, so there'll be a moment of chaos. Hold on. Or if I get Millie out, I'm going to send her outside. Oh my goodness, are you falling on the floor? Millie is an alligator. She does alligator rolls. Come here, Millie. We have Edie inside. Okay, so turn my camera towards the kennel there. Edie getting in front of it. Whoa there, kiddo. I think I'm looking at... I don't have a tripod. The camera is on a chair, sadly. Okay. I'm going to pop this open. A toy. So, for crate training, you want it to be a happy place. No timeouts. No taking her towards it aggressively. Not that you two are aggressive. You can do it a couple different ways. You can toss treats in while saying kennel, just like with the go to bed. Kennel. Yes, and when she's in, mark her, toss some treats. You want them to be in the crate. Don't reward her out of the crate. I didn't mention before, but it's in the little handbook. Where you place your rewards is very informational to dogs. So if you want them near you, reward near you. If you want them away, reward away. In the crate, reward in the crate. Pretty simple, but once you're doing hands-on, it can be easy to forget sometimes. So she had a lot to eat in there. Alternatively, you can shape it just like your other options. Yes, right there she went in willingly, I mean without any cue, so I'm going to mark that. That's that capturing. For shaping, especially with the new kennel, you can mark and reward her for, say, looking at the kennel, taking a step towards it, putting her front paws in it, and then eventually getting all the weight in it. So baby steps. And it actually is a very good way. Shaping, I prefer shaping over luring because they're actively thinking, actively engaging, and putting puzzle pieces together. It's a little more complicated than luring. I think it helps them learn it a little more. The thing you want to watch out for with shaping is expecting too big of steps at once, not breaking the pieces of a behavior down enough. And also, dogs can get a little frustrated if they're not being successful fast enough. So that goes back to the breaking down. So she's laying in there. I'm going to reward her. Edie really likes to have a crate available. When she gets nervous, she wants to go lay in there. She also likes to take her breaks in there. Noisy dogs outside. And one more little game you can play to help teach loose leash walking, which I forgot to mention. Edie, good girl, is playing this silky leash game. So I'm going to put, yes, slight pressure, just like, not hard tension, just like notable pressure on her leash. Yes. And when she moves towards it, yes, I'm going to mark and reward. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of noise outside. Yes. So it is just notable pressure. Yes. This is teaching her to respond, to go, or to move towards the pressure rather than push into it, which is what I mentioned about oppositional reflex. Dogs, their body will make them push into pressure, pull into pressure. So this is teaching them to give to pressure. That will help. You have to sit. Thank you. I don't want to... I'm asking her to sit since she just jumped up. I think that's it. That should give you guys a pretty good foundation. I mean, you can bump up the challenge or the distance, distractions, durations, what I talked about in there. Those YouTube channels I mentioned have tutorials for just about anything that you need to teach. Also for taking these exercises to the next level. Oh, I didn't mention a release cue. So you can add a stay, and I will let you guys, I won't start you here with that because that's more advanced. But you can also do a release word instead. Oh, I know, we could learn beg so easily. But for a release, I would say put her in a sit. Edie. Good. Here. Good girl, come on. Good. Sit. Hey, where you at? All right. Distracted. Sit. And say, okay. Yes. And when she moves away, and you can move away to prompt that, you can mark and reward. That's teaching her that okay is the end. Essentially, a marker like yes or a click does end the behavior itself because it's saying what you did right there is correct. You're going to get a treat. You don't have to keep going. But you can also add a separate release cue. And with that, I think I really will be done. Thank you for watching. Thank you for reading my OCD book. And thank you for adopting Edie. I think she'll be really happy. And I hope you guys will be. If you have any questions or problems, feel free to contact me. Happy to help. She's a good little puppy. So anyways, guys, take care. Bye-bye.